Hey everybody, happy 2024. This is Trash Talk, the thru-hikers podcast. I'm Kenny Powers.
And I'm Guapsui.
And we have a great announcement for you. We have a new co-star.
Dun, 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 dun.
Surprise! It's me, Rascal.
So, what a great way to start the new year. Let's hear about it. Rascal, what's up?
Hello, everyone. Oh, I'm just so psyched to be a part of this. Basically, after the original introduction of myself on the podcast a few weeks ago, I texted Kenny and I was like, yo, how can I be more involved? How can I do this like all the time? And he was like, well, why don't you just join the team? So here I am. Happy 2024. You get to enjoy more of me and my shenanigans alongside these two jokers.
Yeah, you're damn right. We are super glad to have you.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. You bring so much with your hiking experiences and life experiences that it would be stupid us for not to have you involved, honestly.
It's going to be so fun.
You definitely bring something that's not, they don't have that out there in podcasts about hiking anymore.
No, and I think it's cool that like y'all were so into having like such a different viewpoint come in. Obviously, I'm a little bit more feminine. I have just a few more miles than you guys.
You're a girl?
Surprise!
I didn't know you were a girl.
So yeah, I thought it was important. I mean, the hiking community is like the most near and dear thing to my heart. It's my biggest passion in life since I started through hiking. So yeah, I wanted to join in on this passion project and just kick it.
Sure, you can all listen to me and Guapo talk all day long, but we have the opportunity to add someone who has triple the miles we have probably.
Yeah, and we're lame, so
you take it and you run with it.
Literally, I run.
Literally.
Literally run it. So this episode, it's 2024. It's a nice fresh start to everything. I just got off the Foothills Trail. Yeah, I got kind of a fuck it moment on that one. So we'll talk about that later.
How was that, Kenny?
Got your butt kicked a little bit, huh?
Not the hiking portion, but fuck, it was cold.
Oh, yeah.
I do not like winter camping. Winter camping is not a thing for me. I need a personal fire pit following me around everywhere, I think.
And you kind of did have that, didn't you, though?
Kind of. Yeah. Fresh grounds showed up everywhere. It was a really good experience. Got to meet what I call upperclassmen of the AT. Shout out to Mona Lifa and Happy Thoughts from 2021.
Mona Lifa, that's a great name.
Yeah, are also Moons or Devil Woman or something. I don't know. Fresh Grounds loves to give her new names. Got to hike with Gripper, their 2022 Sobo, who is still fighting off cancer, but he's still out there slamming miles. It was nice to see him. Yeah. Got to see Comfort from 2023.
Shout out Comfort, the homie. Yep.
He trail magic the shit out of us.
Oh, he wasn't hiking?
No. He was just came up to shuttle people around and help out. And
right on.
Yeah, it was a really good time.
Very cool.
Congratulations to Master Splinter and my homie MVP. They finished the hike. Really a good time, honestly. It was what I needed. I was tired of being in the civilization. So
after not hiking for a bit, did you find that your body was kind of getting the brunt of it, or?
No, I felt good body-wise. Like I got off trail, I was running, so the legs were still there. I wasn't tired because I was at elevation for so long. It was really just the cold that
cold
made it rough.
Beat you down nice. All right, fair enough.
Yeah. That last night, we were sleeping by a river because toward the end of that trail, if you're going westbound, you're by the river. Even in the low 30s on the outside temperature, when you're by water, it's going to drop at 10 degrees or so. I thought I had a good enough sleep mat, but the sleep was horrible. Woke up, had to go to the bathroom. Luckily, there was a pit toilet there. Unfortunately, RIP my glove.
Poop glove.
That was when I was like, you know what? Fuck the 16 miles. My sanity is more important at this point. The mental game of hiking is rough. We've all talked about it.
Especially when you don't sleep and you're freezing cold and all of a sudden an insanely important piece of gear is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it becomes a safety issue too at that point.
It does.
I had people offer me a glove, but I was just like, I'm just mentally just done. Like, I've already finished this trail before. Why not sit by this fire pit and eat great food? And that's kind of what you dealt with on the CDT with your issues with the weather. And so it's kind of like, you know what? I'll live to fight another day. I don't need to prove anything.
Yeah, it's definitely weighing your options and choosing your best choice because, it's hard enough out there 9 times out of 10. Sometimes it's not the right decision to just push through and put yourself in complete misery or in a very unsafe situation.
Yeah, I mean, the safety wasn't so much an issue. There's a lot of people on trail, but it was definitely the mental of just.
You had enough.
I would have taken a day off on the AT if I felt that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of where I judge that at. I mean, that kind of leads to what we were going to talk about today was self-care.
Self-care is group care.
Thank you for the idea also, Rascal. She's going to be keeping us on the path.
Yeah. I mean, self-care is something that I am notoriously not the best at, but I know a lot about it because in my mind I'm like, yes, I'm going to do it the proper way, and then I just don't. You guys want to dive in?
Yeah, let's jump into it.
You go first, Guapo.
All right. So self-care for me, one of my bigger ones was injury. You know, being slightly not an older guy, but not a 20-year-old piece of rubber.
Which none of us are.
I got hurt all the time. So for me, self-care was biggest in my physical body, right? Like my joints, fucking my knees, my back. So for the first time in my life, really, yoga kind of became a part of my, I don't want to say daily. We would do certain stretches daily, like sun salutations and stuff. But yeah, so that was a huge improvement for me.
Were you doing this while you were on trail?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah,
Hell yeah.
with our family, with the group. Before we would start out the day, we would all set up a big old circle and just kind of run through a bunch of different things. I don't know anything about yoga, but fortunately we had a few females with us that were definitely more well versed. That's kind of how that goes. But yeah, it was incredible. It was incredible. We're great. So if anybody, you know, especially the dudes out there, like, go do some goddamn yoga, man.
Our first introduction to that type of stretching was the big boy and little
The big boy,
chef
yeah.
like Hawk Mountain.
Oh, nice. That's early on, yeah.
Yeah, learned some stretches for the IT bands because that was like a huge thing that I knew was going to be an issue. I still use those stretches today.
We also had that dude, PT Cruiser. He was a physical therapist, physical therapist.
That's awesome.
So, you're learning all kinds of different stuff. Like what everybody thought they had shin splints. Turns out it's not shin splints at all. It's like something else that wraps up, or it's, I don't know, and just stretch it and it goes away.
It's so cool to see, like, over the different trails, like, how many people come from a background of, like you said, yoga or PT or just some kind of, like, greater knowledge of the body, implement it into the trail. There's this wonderful human being on the PCT named Blaze Physio, and she created an entire business. Like, her whole life now, every summer, is traveling in her van up the PCT with the bubble to help hikers. She'll be like, give me a call. If I'm in the area, I'll come by, or I'll see you remotely, and this and this and this is what you should be doing. Let's get you healthy and get you hiking.
That's dope.
It's so important and it's so cool. As somebody who has been combated with overuse injuries for like 2-3 years now, I'm finally getting to a point where I'm like, just stretch.
And that's literally it.
Take that 10 to 15 minutes. 10 to 15 minutes a day, even at lunch. Not supposed to stretch cold muscles, so it's like get moving a little bit, find a nice little viewpoint, and stretch out.
I mean, as a runner off trail, if I don't do this kind of stuff, then I can't just be a normal hiker on trail.
I mean, that ends up screwing it with your mental self-care too, because you're feeling down on yourself. You don't feel like you're capable. And that can compound to become a very big issue. Definitely with we'll go into food and how food comes into self-care also, but the vitamins and minerals you're burning off every day, there's a point where you're going to be deficient, and then mental comes in, physical comes in.
Constantly deficient.
You're constantly deficient.
Yeah, but when your body can't perform like your mind can, or even vice versa, I think that's the biggest mental mind fuck for me. I know I've done the biggest days, and I know if I don't take care of myself, I won't be able to do even half of that. And I haven't found my limits yet, and so I'm like, well, if I don't give myself the ability to do just the bare minimum, then I'll never be able to even get back to where I was.
Exactly. This past trip, I did 15 the first day, felt great. Did 20 the next day, felt a little sore. Did my stretches, whatever, knocked out another. I think I did 14 miles in 2.5 hours. So I was cruising.
What?
No.
He had a goddamn teleport.
Bullshit. I'm calling it.
No, it was an easy section through there. My times might be a little off.
It was a zip line the whole
No,
way.
it was 4 hours. My bad.
Well, Kenny, you've been training for a half marathon, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so like you came into trail already somewhat trained. So the fact that
Mhm.
you started with 15 and 20, that makes sense. Folks who are not trained pre-trail, they probably shouldn't start like that.
Well, no, you'll catch an injury.
Yeah, you
Right.
Yeah.
will. And my first time on the Foothills Trail, I think I did 7 miles one day and then 9 miles the next day. I never got over 10 or 15, I don't think, on that trail. So it was like, it was nice to see the improvement. Yeah, that time frame, that was not 2.5 hours.
I don't even run 14 miles in 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I look at your Strava and I'm like, I just want to trip you.
For my running or for my hiking?
You're
For your
running.
speed, I guess.
You're just like, I'm like, how did you do that on a trail even?
I'm all endurance. I'm all long distance over speed. Like I can keep a solid 9-10 minute pace for like 20 miles, but I'm not gonna ever be like freaking Tara Marie Dower over here on the East Coast, like crushing 7-minute miles on like really technical trails.
I'm 38 now, and like,
Old.
yeah, I know. I just will never be that fast again. But yeah, go watch her episode with Miss Rascal. It just came out. It's a pretty good one.
But you know what she does? She stretches, she drinks water, she listens to her coach. She's kind of
Ooh.
smart.
I know she's been having issues with food
Oh,
while running and
yeah.
stuff.
She's never been good at the food thing, which is really important to be good with on trail.
Yeah. Exactly. You have to eat.
In what way? What do you mean by food? Like she
Yeah.
can't eat or doesn't eat or is just not eating enough or correctly?
All of the above.
All of the above. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All encompassing.
I mean, any of us, when we're in a situation where we're being very physically active all the time, your body doesn't want a lot of foods because it weighs you down. You just don't feel great when you're eating it. So, I mean, that's a big difference between running and hiking. Yeah, just like keeping count of your intake and like knowing what you're putting in your body and knowing like, oh, if I eat this entire bag of gummy worms, I'm probably not going to feel as good as if I eat this peanut butter and banana sandwich. And hiking, it's hard. Like trail food is
Mm-hmm.
not healthy.
Not at all.
No.
I think New York is when I started, or maybe a little bit after New York. Yeah, I started changing up my diet when I met up with my hiking partner. Like I started eating more like salmon, cheeses, like not so much just, peanut butter and Oreo wraps.
Like processed sugar.
It just processed shit.
Yeah, I was just mentioning to someone the other day when I hiked the PCT, I was a half-ass vegan. And so I was like, I had to be very intentional about what foods I was eating and where I was getting my foods from. And I think the PCT was, out of all my hiking, probably the strongest I felt. Unfortunately, that was the most weight I lost on all my trails, but like I felt unstoppable. And whereas like other trails, like AT, my first one, I mean, I was eating Pop Tarts just all the time, and I didn't feel great.
No. And I think that leads to a lot with definitely the mental side of it. The mental side won this time on my hike. I've been through harder shit on trails.
No doubt.
My whole world was blowing up. We'll get into mine here in a minute if anybody else wants to talk about some mental trials, because I think mine will take a little bit.
I'll jump into it, Daddy-O. That's what we want. We miss your face, man. The people miss you.
I know it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute. We took some time off. We tried to do a couple recordings. We had some major technical difficulties, but I think we're still going now, so we're still good. So my biggest challenge on the AT, and I'm gonna get a little personal here. I'll open up. I'm a vulnerable person now. I went out on the trail trying to become a better husband, better father, that type of thing, and quickly, not quickly realized, but halfway through, found out, hey, I just need to focus on being a better dad. Just trying to be the nicest person I can be and give people grace and figure that type of thing out, but before I realized that, I was in Duncannon. I had just found out that my wife had been cheating on me, whatever, broken up, whatever. And I was really in a low place leaving Harper's Ferry. And I got to Duncannon and it finally hit me. I was kind of having a good time. And then when I was sitting there by myself, the dark thoughts start coming in. I had a plan to, end my hike, end everything right then and there in Duncannon. Wrote a letter to my kids. I reread it and I was like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, I'm out here to not do this anymore. I've had PTS for years and depression and stuff like that. And it's like, I've had those thoughts before. I've, almost come to the conclusion of doing that before. And other outside entities have stopped me or have interfered in some way. And this time, like, I took that power that I knew I had from hiking and all the shit I've been putting up with. And my mindset changed at that moment. My hike became about me. not anybody else, not trying to change anybody else's opinion of me. And without taking those hard lessons I learned on trail with taking care of yourself, thinking things through, that self-care mentally, I think is probably the only reason I'm here still.
Fuck yeah, dude.
It's rough to talk about, but I've had suicidal ideations, and I think everybody has a little bit in their life. But there's been a couple of times in my past where I've actually almost taken action on it, and I've lost too many friends to that. I do no good as a father or whatever to anybody if I'm not here.
That's a beautiful thing, though, man.
Yeah, it was, and it was a turning point in my hike. Started focusing on myself, did what I wanted to do rather than what other people were thinking.
Right. And it's like that thing that's been with you and you've been carrying for however long. It's almost like you had to finally face it one more time to
Yeah,
to learn that you are, able to defeat this thing and continue on that hike called life.
you can't defeat it. It's always going to be there, but I now have the tools
But you didn't let it win.
Yeah, I have the tools to effectively take care of it.
Yeah. I mean, you let the trail come in and break you and then heal you again.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's like what through hiking, if you're really into it and you're really passionate about it, that's what it can bring you. It can bring you that sense of like, oh, wait, I am here for a purpose and I am loved and I am wanted and needed. And so, fuck yeah, I'm sticking around and I'm going to crush it.
The people I was around were definitely, I ended up not hiking with them after that, but just because I took some days off for myself and I ran into them a couple times. But it was, just the change of scenery and realizing, hey, there are people out here that love me, and they barely even know me. I'm just learning myself. So like the self-care portion of that is talk to the people around you. Maybe not talk as much as I did about everything, but
but that's why the community is there.
I think the thing is like we're all going through our own version of something also.
Mm-hmm. Everybody's got their own bullshit to deal with.
Right.
Whether they realize it or not, you can just go out to hike because you're like, oh, this is an amazing adventure and I've always wanted to do this. And then a couple 100 miles in, you can be like, oh, wait a second, hold on. There's a lot of things that are coming out that I need to like deal with or figure out because, you have just so much fucking time out there, not only to yourself, but with the community of people who are out there for the other reasons.
Everyone wants you to be the best person you can be because that's what you want for them. I was out there. I mean, I like to think I was nice to everybody I met. I'm sure there's some people who don't like me, but I can't change that. What was your experience, Rascal, back when you were young when you did the AT?
I had just turned 23 or something like that. And yeah, I left solo, a lone female who had only ever backpacked once in her life ever. I didn't know why I was going out there besides like, this is a cool adventure. I saw a friend do it through the internet and was like, oh, I would like to live in the woods. And yeah, I mean, within 200 miles, I was like, oh my gosh, this is more than anyone could ever have told me. Like, no one could have prepared me for what I found in myself out there. I just turned into Rascal, and it's my favorite part of myself. I learned to love myself hardcore. I am my own best friend and super self-sufficient, independent, and yet I crave the community and I crave the intense vulnerability that it brings out, the miles that it lets you do, and just like push yourself and realize that you're capable of like literally anything if you just like decide you are. It's pretty crazy what a good mental game can give you. Like I remember so specifically my first 20 miles ever in one day. I thought I was like a god. I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I did that. And now I've pushed it beyond my wildest dreams, and I'm still haven't reached my limit yet.
Just for a reminder for anybody who hasn't seen that episode yet, what were those miles? Your biggest now?
In a 24-hour push, I did 72, and in 38-hour push, I did 109 miles.
Yeah.
Through the 109 was through the Great Basin. It is flat, literally barely 9,000 feet of gain, 109 miles.
Yeah, no biggie,
No biggie.
Yeah, no biggie. No biggie.
Water. Ran out of food 30 miles out.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, just live off donuts.
No, actually, I was hiking with my partner at the time, and he had a friend from his previous hike who brought us Taco Bell at the road crossing, and I literally almost cried. She like pulled up and was like, "Here's the Gatorade. I'll meet you up there. I've got Taco Bell. I've got Crunch Wraps," and I was like, "I love you."
Crunch rats. So I mean, Guapo, what was your mental test, man?
Oh man, I had a lot, dude. I had a lot. The physical part was, to be honest, the easy part, right? Like I was in the ER twice, my ankle, and my toe. I broke my toe. I kicked my buddy in the shin. We were playing around. That was nothing. I actually summited with a broken toe.
You
So
dumbass.
yeah, yeah, big time. You know, that's what you get for wearing sandals also and hiking sandals.
Wait, did you wear those the whole time?
Not the whole time, but I did wear them a lot. I did. No, I started with just some Ultra Lone Peaks. Had two pairs of those, and I switched to sandals early, man. Probably before Damascus, I would say. But I carried my trail runners as well. Like it wasn't just sandals.
Yeah, you had
Um,
camp shoes, and yeah,
but I would hike them because they were, whatever.
yeah.
Hiking
Capable.
sandals. Specific. I like the free foot feel. I'm just about that life. I'm wearing sandals right now, and it's like 25 degrees out. Ah.
Put the nasty feet away. We don't get paid for that.
Hey, I got beautiful feet, son.
Wait,
You
we
kidding
get
me?
paid?
No, we don't get paid for that, rascal.
Oh,
We're
that's
not
right.
supposed to tell her about the Only Feet fans page.
No one's only no, yeah, only feet.
If it puts money in my
Um,
trail fund, let's go.
Hey, yo, no shame. I
we'll
feel
we'll
you.
put the link in the bio.
But
Rascal.
yeah, so for me, my hike kind of started off on a weird foot. Some I haven't really talked about, but I don't even know my family is aware of it. But I was arrested last December in a town next to where I grew up for a little situation that happened at an Applebee's. I was jumped by some dudes and basically attacked inside this Applebee's, and I called the cops. And they started treating me like this big criminal and all this other stuff. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, I'm the victim. My shirt was torn. I had scratches on my neck. Like, it was very clear what had happened there. So I had court looming over me. And I don't know if you know my history. I've been in a lot of trouble when I was growing up. I was a bad boy.
We
Naughty.
talked about that wilderness therapy
Yeah.
and all.
Yeah. So I was, in and out of law enforcement's grasp on a pretty continuous basis. But this is something that I put well behind me in my life, like 20 years, It's been a long time since I've had any trouble whatsoever. But I had this court date and it kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. So I finally get to, where the hell was it? Laughing Heart. And I ended up having to stay there for a couple days because Zoom court was on Zoom and I needed the Wi-Fi, so I couldn't be in the woods and miss it and get a warrant and get locked up. It's just total disaster. Yeah, so I was carrying that the whole time. Eventually, the charges got dismissed and dropped, and everything was a-okay. But I had to borrow a bunch of money from my sis. It was like just the most stressful way to start the trail for me. It really took a lot out. It was in the back of my mind from the gate. And, I'm trying to be out there to heal and grow and see these beautiful things and live this new, beautiful life. And I just couldn't. That was my experience for me with the mental shit.
That's rough. I mean, bringing stuff into trail is like, it takes a while to let it go and to get through
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I think it was it was the AT. I went in, and then I was sort of seeing someone at the time, and a couple hundred miles in, I realized that it was over. And it took me like 400 more miles of walking before I really realized, oh no, it is over. And like, you're gonna have to move on besides just physically moving on.
I would have to say that's like my Duncannon moment was like, oh
Mm,
shit. Like there
yeah.
is no saving this. Like, and even if there is, why? Why? I'm not the same person I was. So it's like they're never going to accept who I am. So
Hmm.
move on.
That's why I initially started the hike was to get over my ex.
And a lot of people do
'Cause
that.
and it
Oh
didn't
yeah,
work. Like for me, it didn't work like at all. But the cool thing is I came to grips with the idea that doesn't need to. Life goes on no matter what. So
totally.
I almost realized that getting over kind of is a lie. In my mind, it doesn't really exist, right? Like, because deep down somewhere, there's always going to be that thing and that piece of that person with
Mm-hmm.
you, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
There's always,
Yeah.
you're going to, it just is what it is. So whatever I was looking for didn't happen. And I get maybe that was my kind of come to Jesus, not in a religious way, but kind of moment, come to the great white blaze moment.
Yeah, I mean, the trail kind of teaches you that, like, you just need to be grateful for what you have in the season, you
Mm-hmm.
know, whether it
Mm-hmm.
be a person or an experience or whatever. Like, while you have that moment or those people in your life, just be insanely grateful for that in that time period.
And be present.
And be present and don't hold
Mm-hmm.
on too tight and, like, just enjoy it because, yeah, it could last forever or it could be it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It could end in an
So
instant,
yeah,
just like your hike could end in an instant.
But, like, why live with regrets, you know?
Yeah, it gives you a perspective like, okay, I'm going to take these life lessons that I've learned and I'm going to apply them now. And that's the same as the trail. You're going to learn those lessons on trail. You're going to learn how to take care of yourself. You're going to learn how to not beat yourself down and disparage yourself. Like, that's one thing that I'm grateful for with Jersey Shores. Like, if anytime I talk negatively about myself, it's like, hey, we don't do that here. You take those lessons from other people that you're around that are from completely different walks of life. We met a CEO of a huge company who just walked away from it just to go hike the AT. And I've met people who were unhoused before they went on the AT and had no gear.
yeah,
And were blessed by it. Shout out to Eggs and Bacon, by the way. They're cool as hell.
yeah.
You just go out there and you accept everybody. And the second you accept everybody for who they are, and don't try to change people. They're going to find that change when they need it and when it hits them.
Bacon and Eggs are out there slinging Bibles right now.
Oh, slinging Bibles, just walking
Yeah.
from town to town. That poor man's had CPS call on him and crap, and it's just like, leave him alone. His daughter's so smart and sharp. She's 100% fine. Hustling. But I think it's more mental than it is physical, honestly.
Yeah,
Oh,
because at the end of the
1,000%.
day, it's literally just walking. Like, you can choose to walk one step or a million steps in one day. You got to choose the mind more intentionally than you do the steps. That is the hardest part for folks. And it's funny, I've seen the trail over the past couple years, just the whole trail community turn from like a dream, like people's dreams, and they want to go and do it, to this thing of like, oh my God, it's the cool thing to do. So I'm going to go hike this trail. But then
Yeah.
not really hike this trail. And then, like, wait, this is hard. I'm out of here.
What do you mean by not really hike it?
Well, just like, if you want to learn all these lessons, if you want to, like, really give this experience your all, you have to hike through the bullshit. You have to hike through the bad weather, the bad terrain, the unhappy moments. Over the past, like, 2 seasons, I've seen people just start to skip that and be like, oh, well, I'll just, like, literally skip miles, or, like, I'll literally, like, go home, or I will have somebody carry my pack from A to B, or I will take 45 zeros in one season. Shout out to all my friends who do that and still crush it and make it. I'm proud of you all.
Well over 45, I'm sure.
Oh, close. I was close to 40.
It, like, reflects society so much. The way society has just become lazy. Then we all wonder why there's so many mental health issues going on in our world today. Why every single person you meet is on anxiety meds, is depressed, and doesn't know what to do with their life, and just random things that have had a huge uptick in not only our country but the whole world. Why are people who are going out there reflecting society on trail? Because trail is supposed to be this, like, healing place.
I have an opinion on that. It even shows in like the Facebook groups for AT hikers or whatever. They all create these groups and everyone's just, it's what can I buy that's going to make me make it. It's not what you fucking buy. It's what's inside you.
But on a defensive note for those good people, that was very much you and I as well in the beginning. That's almost every hiker in the beginning, because you have this false idea, right? Because
you don't know any better.
You're ignorant to it. Yeah, you think the lighter tent, you think the better shoes, those are the things that are needed to do it.
But with my thing is, I'm going to talk shit about these groups right now because I'm just going to say it.
Coming down.
These people are out there, and there's a lot more gatekeeping happening. The people who can't afford, like me, I couldn't afford all the ultralight shit. I still can't. I probably never will. I'll eventually piece shit together, and I'll have the lightest pack. But it doesn't matter. I carried so many trinkets, it didn't matter.
Yeah, that sword.
Hey, the sword. I have rocks
necessary.
I carried. The sword was necessary. Okay, you never know when you're going to run the big boy. So there's a lot of gatekeeping. There's people like, oh, you need to have this pack. You need to have this. You watch all the YouTube videos, and what I respect about Tara is she doesn't do too many gear reviews. She just tells you what she uses, and Master Splinters kind of do the same. But it's like choose this shoe. Oh, choose this shoe. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm not sponsored. Everybody's gear is going to be focused toward themselves. So don't let that discourage you if you're thinking about doing trail because you can't afford the most expensive shit. Cool
You might
enough
not
to
even
do
like it.
Yeah, you might not like it.
No, when you first start, you don't know what you're gonna like. I mean, my first shakedown hike, I realized within 8 miles, like, oh my God, this backpack that everyone said was the most perfect backpack doesn't fit my body.
Exactly.
You
It's
know?
so subjective. Gear is so subjective that
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wish to see the change in the community of at least YouTube. Element fucking electrolytes. I don't fucking like them. They are disgusting, but they're the easiest people to get sponsored by.
This just in, we are sponsored by Element. Like,
We are, yeah.
Actually not.
Thanks, Guapo, for accepting that one. It's so subjective. So I'll get on the groups and I'll be looking at something. I'll just see the same question 6 times because everybody's too lazy to fucking scroll. If you're too lazy to scroll in a group and look for an answer that question's already been asked, you should probably rethink doing the AT.
that's Facebook in general. That's any group you go into.
But that's
You
what's
know, it's
bringing
like,
it to the trail.
yeah, well, that's true. I think also a good thing is like 99% of those people are not on the trail, will not be on the trail.
No, but maybe for a day hikers.
They're just keyboard warriors, you know.
Muggling it up.
Yeah.
Muggles.
Or bots even.
Muggles.
Bots for days in those groups.
But I mean, to go back to the whole like gatekeeping thing in line with the mental game, I think it's the fear mongering is like one of the biggest, craziest things that I didn't realize was a thing before I started hiking or getting into the outdoor world at all, because it's the same in the climbing scene and the skiing and running scene that I'm also a part of. It's like all these people that you see who have, done it before are all of a sudden like, oh man, this is really scary or this is really hard. Are you really going to do this and that? And it's like, oh, wait,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know much. Like, the beginning of the AT is like everyone and their mom who absolutely knows nothing is like, you're going to die in the Smoky Mountains. Oh my God, just wait until you get to the whites. Oh, if you don't filter every single drop of water, that's it, game over. It's like, wait, no. These are not end-all be-alls, and that is gatekeeping. Like, we have it within people who don't know anything, and we have it within the people who have been there, done that. And that's, like, so annoying to me. And I don't know, as someone who's now hiked a few miles, I try and give people advice or just, like, tips and tricks, things that work for me, but I never, ever want to discourage anybody from trying something new.
Right. If there's a sketchy section in your interview, even when it comes to the point of like just warning someone,
Yeah.
Most of the time, you're right. It does totally come off as like fear mongering or whatever. But there's good ways to do that too. Be like, yeah, it's sketchy, it sucks, but dude, it's fun as fuck. You're gonna love it. Be careful.
But as long as you have common sense and you're careful, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I had an incident in the 100 mile. We were night hiking to Trail Magic right after Joe Mary Road after the resupply, and we came upon a southbounder section hiker. He had his headlamp on or whatever. He was like, "Oh, that last mile was treacherous." I was like, "Oh, it should just get easier." It did not get easier. It got way worse for him than it got for us. Like I was like, maybe I should have fearmongered a little bit.
But maybe that helped him, maybe that helped him because, in his mind, he wasn't sitting there dwelling on this negative experience that was coming his way.
And fear mongering, yeah, it happens. It happens from the jump. Everybody just doesn't, you fear the unknown. So it's, this is like a 2,000-foot climb in a mile. Well, that used to sound bad, but it's a hill. Just walk up it. It's still a lot. Just walk. Just take your time. Get up it. What are you going to do? Turn around and go back up the other 2,000-foot climb you just did? No.
You're going to go south? No.
You're going to go south? Just why? Just keep going. So I think that took a while for me to get over the looking at the elevation map every 5 seconds.
It's especially hard for someone like any female. Like, I've been in this situation every single time I go out, no matter what. Even to this day. I was out skiing the other day, and this guy comes up to me and he's like, "Are you out here alone?" And I was like, "Dude, if you only
That's not creepy at all either.
Well, he meant like, you're unsafe. Like, I could tell from his tone, like, you're out here alone. That's so unsafe. And like, dude, you don't know me.
And that's when it comes to the people that think, they know best for everybody. You don't know shit about anybody but yourself. And maybe you should go focus on that instead.
It's usually people like projecting their insecurities and their fears.
Insecurities, their fears.
And that's what I've learned, to like take everything people say with a grain of salt. Use my common sense and try and be safe or whatever, and then make my own decisions.
Yes. I mean, that goes to like not fear mongering. Like you showed me that, was when we met. It was like, oh, it's an 18-mile hike into town tomorrow. Oh, I can't do 18. I've barely even got over 15. It's like, screw it. Let's just do it. That's what you show is just like, if you have the experience and you're like, yeah, you can do it. Like anybody can do it. Just be smart about it.
Common sense is hard for people these days.
It can
It's a
be.
rarity.
But yeah, that loops all back to like taking care of yourself and self-care and stuff.
I think the trail is self-care, honestly, if you go about it the right way. I mean, what is the right way? But as long as you're healthy and you make it to where you want to make it, that's the right way. No one else can tell you what's wrong or right.
As long as you don't use it as like every time you need to run away from a problem, it will lose its magic,
It becomes an obligation then of like, oh, I have to stay out here because I don't want to go back to that, which I was guilty of for a little bit, but things happen.
I mean, your worst day on trail is better than your best day in your office.
Heard that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I didn't want to come back off the trail. I was like, I kind of just want to stay out here until I got a few days. I'm only a few miles from the trail, but then I was like, okay, I'm sick now, so I really can't go hike. Not very smart. Yeah, the mental game definitely. Like I'm sitting here. I'm dealing with my divorce now. Found out I was been lied to even more and more and more and more and more, and then truth comes out, and it's like, do I just let it go? Let these things be said and take whatever I get or whatever, take it on the chin, or do I, stand up for myself in the proper way, get who I am out there and, let it ride.
I think those two can be synonymous.
It can be. One thing I definitely learned on trail is meeting negativity with more negativity doesn't help anything of the situation or anybody. To me, it's being untruthful with yourself and with others. You can always find somewhere to be positive, even if it's the shittiest situation. Literally.
I know.
Like dropping your glove in the toilet.
300 miles of trail with Giardia, so I know about shit.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. You did the CDT. You thought you had a parasite and it was kicking your ass.
It was Giardia.
That's what happens when you don't filter your water.
I drank poop water and I got sick.
The no filter game will get you sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, the whole ultralight thing.
Yeah, the ultralight. That's a little bit, it takes too much time.
Yeah. I got miles to hike, baby.
Yeah, seriously, those Sawyers are heavy too, man.
Well, I mean, that goes to we could bring up the nutrition portion of it then. Like, how did you continue on? Like, how many miles did you hike with Giardia, and how did you keep your nutrition up?
The last 300 miles of the CDT, I was shitting my brains out every day. And I was not eating enough because every time I ate, my body just couldn't digest it. And then I couldn't walk, but I still had to walk 30 miles a day.
So super dehydrated as well?
So dehydrated. And it was like southern New Mexico. So there's like no water.
Yeah.
And there in the towns, there's like, no good quality foods. It was really rough. I cried a lot. I cried more on the CDT in 4 months than I have in the past 4 years.
Oof.
It kicked my ass, and it was so much fun, and I can't wait to go back.
Just hopefully not with Giardia next time.
Yeah, next time I will filter once in a while.
Oh, yeah, since that's how that works.
That's how that works.
Some people's kids, man, I tell you.
Some people's kids. You just can't teach them common sense sometimes. So, I mean, we can get to the nutrition portion. Like, I didn't really realize, how bad off I was. I thought, oh, I'm losing weight. That's a good thing. You got to keep some fats in reserve, I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but I was taking a daily multivitamin for a while, eating stuff high in amino acids and protein and stuff like that. But that's pretty much my only knowledge about how to.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because you're like, damn, I'm losing weight. I look good and I can hike these miles and I'm eating like shit and it's fun and like whatever I want. But yeah, at the end of the day, your body's going to be so deprived of like nutrients that you're going to be just like weak, your muscles and your joints. And that's when those injuries pop in. And that's when overuse pops up because you're like, but I can hike these miles. What's going on? Now I broke my toe.
You feel sluggish. You feel just sore all the time. And you start to smell like ammonia whenever your body starts eating its own muscle.
Yeah.
If you start smelling ammonia out of your armpits, just go ahead and start eating a lot of protein.
Yeah, it's more than protein though. Like it's like the carbs and like you said, the fats. Like pack out a goddamn avocado every once in a while. Just do it. It's so important. My partner and I this summer would pack out like sausage and veggies, and then we would cook it over the fire night 1, night 2 out of town, and it was so good.
Yeah.
The next day I would hike so strong.
Yeah, it's definitely important to put that kind of information out, because everyone's like, oh, it's got to be in a package if I could to take it in the woods. Like, no, you can carry anything you want out there. Just got to make sure you eat it.
Yeah, and I mean, just be aware of the temperatures. I like colder hiking now because I can pack out things that will keep longer. I can pack out cheese, and I can pack out, things that are better for me.
I'm a big dried salami or pepperoni kind of guy, even though it's processed meats, but it's, it gets you the fats you need. Salmon's really good.
Yeah, salmon's good. A whole rotisserie chicken, just fucking strap it to the top of your pack.
Eventually, I mean, I definitely noticed it on like more YouTube videos of PCT and CDT. Like a lot of people start carrying out a lot more town food.
Yeah, I mean, you can do like we did full resupplies with like Subway.
I would very often pack out a sub.
It's so good.
I think I'll do that a little bit more this year when I go back out there in March.
Yeah, I mean, one time I just had a bunch of pad thai in a giant Ziploc bag. Just eating that.
That beats Mountain House.
Yeah, it does.
Literally everything beats Mountain House.
Yeah, I mean, they're so expensive.
And some of them really aren't that good for you.
No.
Yes, they're high in calories. Yes, they're high in protein or whatever. But then you start to really look at those ingredients and you're like, wait, what?
There's like no vitamins and minerals in it. It's just like, just pure calories.
You know what's better? A ramen bomb.
No, yeah.
Just do it.
Macaroni and cheese.
Yeah. Annie's white cheddar mac.
There you go.
Shout out Meat Tractor, who would always pack out the mac and cheese with the sauce packets.
They're so heavy to carry, but
are heavy.
Worth it.
He swore by him, man.
See, like AT, the resupplies are so close together that it doesn't really matter. Other trails, it's like, man, am I really going to pack out this much food for an 8-day carry?
And as you get further on trail, you're starting to carry more food. I mean, my food bag worked fine at the beginning. I would say by Vermont, I need to order a new Hilltop pack.
You need 2 food bags.
Yeah, you need 2 of them. It just gets a little crazy. And so it's, I can't imagine an 8-day food carry.
Well, another benefit of being a small female hiker who doesn't burn as many calories. Yeah, it's funny. My food bag will never get bigger than like this. And like this summer, my partner's food bag, he literally could never close it, no matter what, until like day 3 into trail and be like, guess what? It finally clipped.
Once you get north in the Northeast, like you can really feel how much lighter your pack gets with every meal. Physically, I know females store more fats and stuff like that than males. So you don't usually see females losing that much more weight. Like men will go from I went from 205 to 169, I think. So like that's a huge weight loss. And, my hiking partner, I think she lost 10 pounds.
Yeah, I've never lost more than...
Uh-oh. I didn't hear a damn thing you just said.
Oh, no. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back now.
I was just saying that most of my trails, I've never lost more than 7 to 10 pounds.
36.
So, I mean, you got to look at that. Like, that's definitely some information that most people don't know is just because you're losing that much weight usually means you're not efficiently burning your calories.
Right. And you're probably not losing it in the right place either. My gut stayed the whole damn time.
Oh, mine went away. Now it's back. I got to fatten up for next year.
You better start training for a marathon instead of a half. Or I'm running an ultra in a month. You want to come run an ultra with me?
Where?
Here in Utah, where I now currently live.
I don't know if I'll come run it, but I'll come crew you. Maybe I'll pace you for a couple miles once.
It's gonna be chill. It's like a 6-hour race. It's not that bad.
You doing 50K?
It's this mountain that we're just gonna run up and down as many times as we can in 6 hours.
Oh, well, that sounds wonderful.
Uh-huh.
My Lord.
That sounds exactly what I want to do in March.
It's only 2,500 feet of gain in barely 4 miles. It's fine.
What do you guys think? Oh, we lost him!
Oh, no. He's
completely
gone.
All right. Well, that'll be the end, ladies and germs. Thank you guys so much for coming through and watching again another episode of Trash Talk. We lost Kenny Powers at the end, so he will not be here to say goodbye to you. He loves you. He'd do something like that and hearts would go all over your faces. I don't know.
Oh, it's so good to be here. Thank you so much for just having me join the team. Y'all, Rascal's here for you. She's here to stay.
All right, y'all. Deuces. Be well, be vigilant. Happy trails.
Why people climb mountains? winter I would climb every mountain